Well, South Africa is planning a fuel cell plant to boost platinum demand as low commodity prices continue to dog the market. This is The Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight, I talked to the Chief Executive of Isondo Precious Metals, who are doing feasibility study to manufacture, market and sell licensed fuel cell components using platinum. Welcome to my guests, Vinay Sumera and Saqib Khan, Chief Executive and Chief Operations Officer, respectively. Saqib, I'm going to start with you because you are the technology geek. I mean, you studied fuel cell technology, University of Surrey, that's your pedigree. Explain to me, please, what we're talking about with fuel cell technologies, because for those of us who don't understand, a battery is a battery is a battery, but this is not a battery.
No. So essentially, Bruce, a battery stores energy. A fuel cell actually converts energy. So a fuel cell will take a whole variety of fuels, be it hydrogen, diesel, methanol, biofuels, and then convert that without combustion, unlike a diesel generator.
So an internal combustion engine requires the petrol, there's a spark, there's an explosion, the piston turns, and the vehicle moves.
Correct.
This is a similar process without a bang.
Combustion, that's right. So you have a platinum-coated catalyst, which then disassociates the fuel, splits the fuel, if you will, no combustion. You have oxygen from the air. The oxygen comes in, combines with the reactants from the fuel, makes water, electricity, and heat, very simply. A clean technology. A
clean technology. Yes. Now, at the moment, we've got, I think there's a battle between technologies, a battle between brands. Tesla, for example, they're using lithium ion, but those are batteries. This isn't sort of a VHS beta battle between clean technologies for the future.
Not at all. Both technologies are actually synergistic. Because a fuel cell actually produces energy, doesn't store energy, there's times when you will need the energy later. And that's where lithium-ion batteries and other battery technology comes in. So actually, you will end up with a hybrid type system, and that hybrid system will actually give you a better energy solution overall.
So up until now, platinum's been used in the motor sector in particular through autocatalytic converters. It's the process to make the toxins less damaging to the environment. That's still used. This is an additional use then in the motor sector, or I suppose even in the household sector, the energy sector more broadly.
Correct.
To generate energy.
That's right. So today, if we look at South Africa with some of its energy challenges, people buy diesel generators. They have a diesel generator. When the power goes down, the generator starts to produce electricity. It's noisy, produces emissions. A fuel cell will do the same, but it will do it without the harmful emissions, and it will do it silently and more efficiently.
More efficiently, but I mean, platinum is not cheap. The technologies cannot possibly be cheap.
No.
A generator is going to cost me 5,000 rand.
Correct.
What are you going to charge me to get the same sort of output?
Well, a fuel cell will be more expensive than a generator today. But when we look at the total cost of ownership, or we look at the operational expense, a diesel generator, when it takes diesel, is about 20% efficient if you're lucky. But efficiencies are normally around 10%, if not less. The same amount of fuel going into a fuel cell, the fuel cell actually has an efficiency of about 40 to 50% if you don't capture the heat. So economically, over the lifetime of the fuel cell, it's more economically viable than the genset.
Typically, what is the lifetime of a fuel cell?
A fuel cell continuous operation will give you between 15,000 hours, 20,000 hours before the stack needs to be replaced.
Okay, and the stack is
the
working,
heart.
the mechanism.
That's right. That's where the platinum catalyst is.
So how then? I mean, so who are your competitors? If I look at what's happening on the roofs of houses around South Africa, for example, I'm seeing lots of solar panels. Taking solar energy, converting that. Then you've got the storage facilities at the moment, mostly car batteries
or car batteries,
that sort of stuff. So would those be your competitors?
Competitors, but also synergistic as well, because in the daytime one can produce electricity using solar, and then at night time one can take the electricity that's been generated, convert it to hydrogen, and at night time use the hydrogen in a fuel cell. So now your solar is producing power during the daytime, and then in the evening, your fuel cell takes any hydrogen produced during the daytime through electrolysis and converts it back into electricity.
And you also mentioned if you don't use the heat. So heat is another byproduct then of the fuel cell.
Yes.
Would you use that to generate more energy, or would you use that as in winter to heat your home?
No, you can use that excess energy, for example, as hot water. Yes.
Okay, so that's the technical
Yes.
side of it. The nice Rob Davies is giving you some money to set up this technology in South Africa. What is the process now? Where are you?
Bruce, the process really is we're starting off with a feasibility study,
And you've got 15 million rand of government
Well,
funding on the feasibility study.
The reality is, I mean, let's take it back a step, and I'll answer that question in a different way. There's three key drivers surrounding the fuel cell industry right now, and if you localize it, fuel cells have been around, as Sakib said, for a long time. They put a man on the moon, right? It's used in all the space missions. The technology is well proven, but you picked up on the one key issue: the high capital cost of the technology, and until that capital cost is reduced, it's not going to become mainstream. We have some of the factors that can control the cost within our control in South Africa. Fuel cell companies typically are using many means to try and reduce the cost, but they're focusing primarily on the PGM content. So they're doing typically two things. They are doing reduction on platinum loadings, and in certain cases trying to eradicate the precious metals or platinum content entirely. From a country perspective and from a platinum mining perspective, that is the worst possible news. I mean, you know better than most that the platinum sector is under tremendous strain.
Sure.
And a lot of the strain is as a result of the market becoming more mature in terms of the AutoCAD, right?
Completely, but here we've got an opportunity. We've got a great natural resource. We produce 80% of the world's supply of platinum. It's sitting here in South Africa and in Zimbabwe.
Exactly.
It's in our region. We can utilize it. However, can we competitively produce fuel cells here relative to other parts of the world? Why should we be doing it here?
And that's exactly why we're doing this bankable feasibility. We believe we can. We believe we have all the attributes to produce it cheaper here than the rest of the world for various reasons. The bankable feasibility study is here to actually prove that beyond a doubt, or at the very minimum, show the business case for fuel cells, determine what's lacking, if anything, and how that cost can be reduced for local manufacturing.
You're not doing anything brand new. You're not reinventing the fuel cell. You're simply taking technology that is tried, tested, and proven, and looking to create a manufacturing opportunity in South Africa. We can keep shouting at government for failure to beneficiate. This is an attempt to beneficiate a raw material.
Well, government are doing their best to set the platform for creating a beneficiation industry. It is up for industry to step up now and transform those incentives and whatever else is available and comparative advantages into competitive advantages. And that's what we are trying to do as Isandro Precious Metals.
What are the time frames? When will you know whether or not this is a go or not?
Well, we've given ourselves a very, very short time frame. We've given ourselves a year to get the BFS done, the bankable feasibility study done. But as you've said, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're following a pragmatic business process, and we are trying to license best-in-class international technology, locate it here, bring in all the other relevant things we can, skill sets, incentives, metal, and try and produce a business case that is better than anywhere else in the world. And in doing so, proving that, one, we can bring the cost of fuel cells down, two, we can help expand the market, and three, we can manufacture it here, or manufacture the components here, and export it. That is the ultimate intent behind what we're trying to do.
Now, Sakib, I mean, this is all well and good, and it's great. Back to you in a moment. But the world is about disruption right now. And when platinum was at $2,000 an ounce, it was far too expensive. We've got to get new AutoCADs in, something to do that job that platinum does right now. So let's disrupt that market. Don't you run the risk of severe disruption when it comes to creating fuel cells?
Yes, you do. But disruption is necessary to move forward and make progress.
But why is platinum the chosen commodity right now that seems to have a fairly feasible runway?
Well, for fuel cells, it's been demonstrated over and over again that platinum is actually the best catalyst to be employed within fuel cells.
So it's a great conductor, and it's a stable conductor, and it's robust.
Well, yeah, it's a very stable catalyst, performs the job extremely well, is not consumed in the reaction, and therefore can be recycled again. Now, there are alternatives to platinum within fuel cells, but they do not have the same level of reactivity, the same level of efficacy that platinum does. And at the same time, as I mentioned before, because the platinum can be recycled, we then have a loop to bring back the stacks at the end of life, very similar to the AutoCADs, and create a recycling value stream at the same time.
Now, how big can this be for South Africa? I mean, it's all well and good to say we can start up an industry, but how big? What's your best case scenario?
Well, the best case scenario really is, Bruce, is dependent on the scale of the reduction we can achieve via
The scale of the reduction, which
cost reduction we can achieve via local manufacturing. Going back to your earlier question about the time scale, our time scale was a year for the BFS, and then look at licensing technology, and then start manufacturing thereafter. In starting the bankable feasibility and doing the market research, we've actually uncovered opportunities to license best-in-class technologies at this outset of the process. So we're now going into a parallel process where we're starting the bankable feasibility, but at the same time, we've licensed, for example, the DuPont MEA technology, membrane electrode assembly technology.
And in English, for the rest of us, that is just what? Is that a leading edge global technology?
So yeah, DuPont, obviously DuPont Chemours, which is a subsidiary, and who has licensed that technology to us. The MEA really is a membrane with a platinum catalyst on both sides of it, right? That's the heart of the fuel cell. We now have the option to, while we're doing the bankable, to actually look at setting up pilot plant facilities at the same time. So when the bankable is done, you actually almost have the ability to produce in a smaller scale the actual product and take to market.
But you're then testing the viability
at the same
while
time,
you're doing the theory.
At the same time. So it's the best of both worlds. So I'm actually quite excited about it. I think, in 12 months, 12 to 15 months, we could have a viable product that we can take to market and take on to international stage. But crucially, you've now got the heart of the fuel cell that you can then, from there produce the actual stack, and then eventually add the balance of plant to produce a fuel cell in South Africa.
Oh, it's very exciting. It really is. My thanks to my guests, Vinay Samera and Saqib Khan, who is Chief Executive and Chief Operations Officer, respectively. The world of fuel cell technology, government very keen on getting this off the ground because, of course, it is often criticised for its failure to facilitate beneficiation of raw materials. Rob Davies putting some money where the beneficiation mouth is on this one to get it started. Maybe it's the catalyst we need. There'll be more money makers in the not too distant future. For now, bye-bye.